Recording.
Hey, what's up, Jim? What's up, Jim? How are you?
All right, how about you?
Good.
Lucky number 13.
Lucky number 13, which happened to be my number in baseball, and I think yours too, wasn't it?
Mine too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So lucky show 13. 2 guys, 1 coup. Again, thank you for tuning in and contributing and listening and following and liking and sharing. Super important, and we appreciate it. I know that, and we're back at it. Kind of a different show today, right, Jim?
Yep. Yep.
Gonna look at, obviously everybody knows what's going on in Ukraine-Russia war. Everybody has pretty much solidified their side. Putin's a tyrant. He's a bad dude. I believe he was underestimated by this administration, but that's an opinion. And we're going to kind of take a little different take on it. You may or may not know some of this, but we're going to look at kind of the history of Russia, Ukraine, and how we got to today, up to date, how we got to right now, and why this conflict happened. We're also going to take a look at, and I've got some information on why Ukraine is actually very important, and why it matters, and probably why Putin wants it and why we don't want him to have it. So we're going to do a little bit of that. We're going to look at what I'd like to call the State of Confusion speech by your president, Joe Biden, Jim.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, and we're going to review some of the notes on that. If you didn't watch it, I understand, because how can you sit through something like that? Honestly. I mean, how can you?
I couldn't watch it last night, but I did watch it all the way through this morning. And
I was busy setting my hair on fire. It was more fun. So that I couldn't quite watch it, but I did watch it. And I got the highlights. I got the points of it. I got what I think is, and we'll get into it further, but more Joe Biden lies. I mean, that's what the guy does. So we're going to look into that. We're going to also kind of briefly look at Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee and that nomination process. The show's probably going to, take that direction where we won't have time for a top 5 this week, I think. If we don't, next week's top 5, we are definitely having it. It's going to be top 5 movies, right, Jim?
Right.
Any genre, any.
Just your favorite movies of all time. If it's on, you got to watch it.
Correct. Which I think probably 3 out of the 5 years will most likely be porn, I think. I mean, based on your deviant behavior.
Yeah, maybe 2.
Maybe top 2.
Yeah,
top 2 probably. I'm guessing that. As far as sports goes, and I think I'm going to start off with this just because I don't want to. We can get into this Ukraine. It's going to take up a while, and it's interesting information that I think is important to know. Yeah. But as far as sports goes, I am super pissed off at Major League Baseball, like beyond pissed off, for more reasons than just, they're canceled the first 6 games, right? 2 series, I think, already right today are canceled, right?
I will say this
for everybody.
My wife comes out and she goes, okay, they say I see that the baseball's canceling the 2 first series. I said, it's basically the first week.
Laura first week of baseball.
My wife said, why don't they just say that? It's because the people that follow baseball, when you say the first two series,
it's 6 games. It's a week. It's the first week of baseball. A series is 3 games. I think something. So So the first week is gone. Why? Because we've got rich people fighting with rich people, fighting with rich people, fighting with rich people who want more and more and more and more. And you go on. No, it's all right. Interrupt.
I'm interrupting you again. I always
holy
do that.
Shit, Jim. Here we go. Already. Here we go. Episode 13. 13 episodes. And it hasn't changed. Go on. Go on.
Well, I just
speak your mind, man.
It's one of the situations where you look and you look at what the owners say, that they want to reduce salaries, which makes sense in some extent because some of these salaries are getting quite high for some of these
small market teams can't compete.
Right. And however, you got to side with the players because, I don't blame them for not wanting to lose money and have money taken away. And if any league right now, and I believe this in my heart of hearts, and I don't, people can disagree with me all you want to. If baseball implemented a salary cap,
yep.
Okay. Man, I think the popularity changes. I think everything changes because right now, even though Tampa Bay is one of the best organizations in baseball, some people wouldn't know that, but
correct.
Nobody goes to their games.
Nobody.
Not until they make the playoffs. Then they show up in droves.
Correct.
And so but there's no way it's going to happen. I mean, there's no way.
No way.
Because teams won't let it happen either. The Yankees, the Dodgers, the Cubs,
the rich
Red Sox. Yeah, they're not going to
want
rich
ones with the highest TV contracts and the highest payrolls and all that. They won't
let
it happen.
So teams like Cincinnati and Cleveland become a farm system for these teams because when these good players, the Cleveland and Cincinnati may be able to afford one of them.
Yep.
But you can't afford all of them, so you got to let them go.
That's right. That's right. And it's out of it. So here's where I think they're both sides are out of touch. All right. Yeah. Americans have gone through shit the last 2 years.
Exactly.
Between COVID and everything being shut down, being forced to wear masks, having cardboard cutouts at baseball games, stupidest freaking thing I ever saw in my life in general. Stupid.
They made some money on it though.
Oh yeah. You could buy your picture and have it sit in the stands like a cardboard cutoff. Piping in sounds and all that. It's just been a ridiculous display of sports in this country the previous 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can't go. So you can't go to the store without higher prices. You can't go to the store without frickin' not finding stuff on the shelves. You're getting higher gas prices. Everything's costing a lot more. And here they are arguing about this shit when people just put the product on the field. Give us something to cheer about. I'm not saying baseball hasn't lost me. It's my favorite sport. It always will be.
Yeah.
So I'm not gone from it, but a lot of people will be. I mean, a lot of people who aren't as passionate as you and I about baseball, who just like baseball, they might say enough's enough already. Quit your infighting and put the entertainment out on the field. And you already can't afford to take a family to a baseball game. Let's be honest. Between parking concessions and the ticket costs in general.
Cincinnati. In Cincinnati, there's some seats you can get $10, $15 a seat. Now it is way out there.
Bleacher seats, upper decks,
and stuff like that. Yeah. So it is It's more affordable than a football game. I'll tell you that.
Oh, for sure it is. Yeah.
But the issue is
you have 81 games to spread that out over as well as opposed to 8 in football.
Exactly.
So
what you and I, big fans of baseball. That's who we are. That's where we came from. And so from our standpoint, it's frustrating from the fact that if you have a stoppage in football, fans are going to come back.
Yeah, for
baseball,
sure.
It's not the case. The popularity has gone down over the years, and trying to find ways to get the popularity up. And, I can watch a baseball game. How many times do we have to hear it's slow moving? Why does the pitcher have to take so long? But you and I know when we watch it, we know why the pitcher's pitching here. We know why is over there. You know what's coming. You know why.
We know why he's throwing to first base with a runner,
and that makes it interesting to us.
Correct.
Other people don't care. They don't want to go that deep.
Well, those are the people that the baseball is going to lose at this point.
And they've lost them, in my opinion.
Yeah,
and
correct.
So other than the cities that have the teams, I think baseball's not as popular at all. It might even be behind kickball right now, which is sad to say.
Maybe.
So,
and I know what we're talking about, kickball. Yeah. So, you're right. I mean, you're right. And so, anyways, not to get too deep into it all, but I was so frustrated when I saw that. I'm like, you guys are just you're out of touch. Both sides are out of touch. I do get players don't want to lose money. The money they're making is insane to play the sport. You know what I mean? It's insane. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And so, you know what? I mean, we've lived without so many things the last couple years. You know, I don't want to live without it, but I can live without baseball. If they decide they want to do that, then as much as I love baseball, I will find something else.
Well,
you know
college baseball is starting, and you can watch it on ESPN, ESPN2 and stuff. And because I like that, I like
college baseball is great.
Baseball. Yep. You know, and I think they'll still have minor leagues, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because minor league's not knocked out. So
correct.
So you could. We've got a great ballpark here.
We
I live and
30 minutes away from us.
Yeah, so you know we can go watch that. It's I like Major League Baseball because I'm a huge Reds fan.
Yeah,
and you know I'm a big Cincinnati guy. You know,
it's
born and raised.
Yeah, you got the big part right. Go on.
No, I was not born and raised in Cincinnati. For those of you who don't know, I feel I
should know. Everybody should know by now.
It's part of my soul. So.
It's a crappy
but anyway,
soul, if you ask me.
It is not.
But
it's beautiful. But, you know, baseball, again, and I don't want to get nailed, but, you know, unions, you know, we run into these situations with unions, you know, and
all the time.
That it's – look, and you made it – you said it best when it's this both sides here.
It's both sides.
You know, I can see from one side. I can see from the other side.
I can too.
But – what I watch as a fan of baseball, I watch the fans leaving. You know, I watch Major League Baseball World Series. Remember when that was the most watched thing? You know, everybody had to watch it. Now it's on TBS, for gosh sakes. Somehow.
I know. Yep, exactly.
And it's just it's sad. It's sad.
It's super sad. And USFL is starting. So
that's
they
fun.
had their draft.
That was fun last year.
No, you're thinking XFL.
No,
so
wait a minute.
USFL
you're right.
Just had their. They just had their.
You're right. That was the XFL.
They're like 620 round draft. USFL just had. So that starts in April, as a matter of fact. And I'm telling you what, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch it. It's football in April. I love it.
What was the other league that started last year?
It was XFL.
And there was another one too.
Oh, was there?
Yeah, I thought there was two. And the XFL, whichever one, there was one of them that was played that was much better football, but it only lasted a couple weeks because then COVID hit. So it was back in 2020.
I thought it was XFL.
That was good football. I mean, I think it is XFL. But there was another one that I think was out there too.
Really?
But it was better. Look, it's not an SEC football game or maybe a Big Ten game. But it was fun to watch. It wasn't.
Oh yeah, it was fun to watch.
The other leagues that it's all defense. You know, defense dominates everything. And whereas this one, there was a little bit more of some stuff going on. So I'm curious.
I think it was because some of the rules, some of the people you can have in motion, they almost adopted and almost looked like some Canadian Football League rules into that. Yeah. And that's kind of how that led to it. But now they're trying to change football. NFL's trying to change the punting rule. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, why don't they just – why? Why even have kickers anymore? Honestly, why have a kickoff? Why have punts? Why have any of that? You know, I mean, it's just pretty soon.
Yeah, why not just put it at the 25?
Put it at the 25.
Punt. You know, I don't know how you're going to fix the punt thing, but
I don't know either. I mean, you can't get near the punter now or something. I mean, isn't that the rule? Like, you know, it's Roger Goodell's a dick. they're gonna literally, that's gonna be flag football in 10 years. You know, I mean, so hopefully the USFL progresses, and then be nice to see that competition with the NFL. I don't know if it'll ever get to that point.
No, because I think the NFL is kind of supporting this league.
They're supporting the USF.
I think maybe not monetarily, but they're supporting it from they talk about it, and it's, you know, I think they have some. I do. I think they have some involvement in it. Not huge, but I think they do. Which is the only way it's going to succeed.
Ukraine once supported Russia too. So speaking of that, do you want to get into this Ukraine stuff? For those of you that are super interested in this story, stay tuned. For those of you that aren't, fast forward.
Yeah, look, Dylan, we talked about this and we thought, well, this is a big issue going on right now, so maybe we should talk about it. We didn't touch on it last week.
A little bit, but not
we
a lot.
wanted to give it a different perspective in terms of what you've been seeing on Fox, on CNN, or whatever you're watching. Because we want to give it a little bit of a history of the Ukraine.
Yeah. Correct.
So I'll be going over some of that. And for all you historians out there, I am not a historian, so I'm going to give you rough information that I think are appropriate for where we're at now. And then you will be taking it over from 1921, I believe. Or 1991, I believe. And so, but we're trying to give a different perspective of it. You can sit there and watch what's going on. But why are we here?
Why are we here?
Why did we
why are we here? Why is it important? Not who's to blame. Not who's to blame. I'm not I don't, I have theories on why we're here now, and we'll give those, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Are they true facts? I don't know, but they're probably pretty good educated guesses as to why we're here now. So, Jim, I'm going to let you take it away. You're starting at 32 AD, right? Is that the time frame?
I asked you, I said, do you want me to go back all the way to Vlad the second from 98 AD? I didn't want to go back that far. I thought that might have been too far.
So is that before the wheel was invented? Is that where we're going?
I have it. I mean, I do have that information.
If you go back that far, I literally will stop the recording now.
I'll start at 99, 98 and work my way up. 99, 100. So I felt basically to start from the years 1917 and 1922, because that was really the beginning of Ukraine as Ukraine. Okay.
Correct.
Yep. So it was there was a Russian Revolution of 1917. All right. And so we had the Ukrainian state had two different republics. They had Ukrainian People's Republic, which was in Kiev. Okay. Yep. At the time, then it was spelled Kiev. Now it's spelled Kyiv. I don't know what that. Now portion.
You know something about KY, but go on.
That portion was internationally recognized. The Ukrainian People's Republic. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
That was the recognized one. Now there was another one called the Ukrainian Socialist Republic. That was in Kharkov, which is the city on the east of. It would be an east and a west type of thing.
Yep. Okay. Kiev being west, correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, Kharkov, the Ukrainian Socialist Republic, was supported by Soviet Russian forces. They supported that. So, now the first Soviet Republic of Ukraine was in December 24th of 1973 or 1917.
Okay.
Basically, what the Soviet Republic said: if you're not with us, you're our enemies.
Yep.
Okay. So warfare then happened against the Ukrainian People's Republic, Kiev.
Yep.
And so they were working to get them out so they could start their Soviet regime. They had support from Soviet Russia, so that helped, right? Eventually the Ukrainian national forces were overrun and out they went. So then it brings to the second Soviet Ukrainian government. This is look, folks. I'm giving you a synopsis. I can go into a whole bunch of detail.
Yeah.
But that will be boring as hell. So I'm trying to hit what I think would be the key things.
Yep.
So the second Ukrainian government was August of 1919. Basically, the government enforced Russia's policies. Okay. And that's how this was done.
So the entire so I can get this right. All of Ukraine then wasn't east or west at that point. I mean,
the West.
All supported.
The West was not. The West was still at that time kind of independent.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
They they weren't as big and powerful because nobody stood by them basically.
Yeah.
Then Lenin ordered the government of the second Soviet of Ukraine to be liquidated. Got out because it wasn't getting anywhere. They weren't doing it, so he decided to get rid of it.
Yep.
So what inevitably what happened? Okay, on December 30th of 1922, Ukraine became one of the founding members of USSR.
Okay.
All right. So that's the important thing. Take all
that's
you want
right.
from this stuff. Okay. It became, I was surprised about that. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't realize it was one of the founding members of the USSR.
Yeah, correct. I did not know that.
So as they were part of the USSR, that wonderful leader that I think Democrats probably look up to today, Joseph Stalin.
Oh, yeah.
We all remember what he did, right? Well,
yeah. Who was an ally of the United States during World War II, by the way.
No, he was an ally. Yeah. Russia was an ally in World War I and World War II.
And World War II, correct.
But, okay, so in 1932, the aggressive agricultural policies of Stalin's totalitarian regime resulted in one of the largest national catastrophes in modern history for the Ukrainian. I brought this up because everybody heard about, I think they heard about this, what Stalin did. But there's things in here that I was interested to see, which is part of the Ukrainian. It was called Holodomor, Holodomor. So Holodomor. Okay. It was the famine that between 2.6 and 10 million people died.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
That was interesting.
We probably would consider that genocide.
Yep.
Because it was Stalin's, it was his policies, it was his, basically we felt he starved them out. In 1990, a group called the International Commission of Inquiry into the Famine found no evidence that famine was part of a preconceived plan to starve Ukrainians and concluded that it was caused by a combination of factors. So they will not call it genocide.
In what year?
And there are a lot of countries that do not consider it genocide.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, the United States is not one of them. Great Britain, United States, we do feel that it was genocide, and
because how could it
everything
not
else?
be?
So that was interesting from that standpoint, because you know we all heard about Stalin and what he did, how he killed all these people. Well, it was in Ukraine, so I thought that was an important thing to go over at that point.
Yep, correct.
So then we get to World War II. All right, so I'm jumping ahead. Okay,
that's fine.
I can take my time if you want.
No. That's fine.
In September of 1939, remember, this was a whole thing where, Hitler invaded Poland, all of this stuff going on, and, there was this war, okay? I think it was called the Second World War. Pretty big war, I think. But in December of 39, Soviet Union then invaded Poland to occupy the Galician Islands. Or the Galician lands, which was inhabited by Ukraine, Poles, and Jews. This added to the Ukrainian territory. That's the significance of that. The reason, if you look at Ukraine before this time, it was smaller. And then as it moves on, it gets bigger because Ukraine's pretty big.
Pretty big.
So then in 1940, Soviet Union occupied some more lands, which inhabited Romanians, Ukrainians, Russians, Jews, Bulgarians. And then this, again, added to the territory. So from 1939 to 1940, Russia was fighting in World War II, but they were also expanding their territory.
Correct.
Which some people may or may not have known. So the post-war, it wasn't good because as Hitler was leaving, they destroyed a lot of stuff as they were being backed up. So Ukrainian lost a lot of farm. They lost a lot of industry. They lost a lot of things. So they were devastated. Basically.
Correct.
So, so what helped them was, here was the final, an agreement was signed by the Soviet Union and Czechoslovakia, whereby Carpathian Ruthenia was handed over to Ukraine. The territory of Ukraine expanded by 160,000 square kilometers and increased its population by an estimation of 11 million.
Yeah, that's big.
So that is when Ukraine, boom, that's Ukraine, right?
Yep.
So we go into the history of what it was under Khrushchev and Brezhnev. Nothing really major happened during this time, but it was just what really happened in the most part was when we got to that, you started seeing Ukrainian nationalists become the czars or whatever they called them at that time. The leaders of Russia. So Ukraine had a big foundation during the Khrushchev and the Brezhnev years, which was 1953 to 1985. 85 was a key year, right? I mean, the 80s were. So, so we, the Ukraine was a huge part of what Russia was at that time. Russia itself was the thing, but the Ukraine was their bigger southern. What do they call them? Slipped my mind, dang it.
Like a province. Territory?
It was a province during that time. It was their largest one. So, and then we get to Gorbachev. All right, Gorbachev, that's where the Cold War, for those of you who don't know, it was basically during Reagan's year, that horrible president that was terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
Gorbachev and the dilution of it. And Ukraine was one of the first free states, if you will, that left the Soviet Union.
Correct.
So, but again, it's because the Ukraine during the whole entire time, and again, I apologize because I don't want to go into the importance of every single leader that was here and all that stuff. Just understand that, when you look at those leaders of Russia that we're all familiar with, from Brezhnev to Khrushchev to all of that, we're familiar with them, right? Because we learned about them, and then we learned about them. But then Gorbachev was the one that eventually, we lose, you win.
You win. That's right.
So, so that brings us to 1991. That was Gorbachev in the dissolution of the Soviet Union was 91, and that's where the Ukraine became important. Chernobyl. Everybody's familiar with that.
Which is in Ukraine. People think
Ukraine.
That's Russia, but that's Ukraine. It's
Chernobyl, which actually, I'm going to be completely honest with you. During this research, I found that out. I didn't know that.
Okay, yeah.
I did not realize Chernobyl was in the Ukraine. So, but all of this stuff happened in 1986. It's all part of the Russification Act.
Yeah.
Okay, basically getting, removing Russian influence, basically, is what it was.
Correct.
And that started after Brezhnev and stuff. They were kind of getting away from the Stalin regime, things like that. Because, again, Stalin had a bad name.
Yeah.
But Khrushchev, of course, was the one that threatened to bury us.
Correct.
And he might be right.
Yeah.
Because he said that remember, Khrushchev said, we will bury you. And he said, we will not do it with tanks. We will not do it with planes. We will not do it with bombs. We will slowly get into your government and turn from the inside. This is what he said. And we've got Bernie Sanders.
And I think Reagan said, socialism will come in the form of liberalism.
Yep.
And I think we're seeing, we clearly are seeing that. And of course, he said, Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where that all freedom came from in Ukraine.
All of you who want to sit there and listen to the left saying that Reagan was the worst president we ever had, look him up.
Oh, smart.
Look at what this man did. He
could see the future. So, basically, he predicted the future. So
let's face it, United States is where we're at now because of him. Plain and simple.
Oh, that's true.
We became the power, the number one power in the world.
That's right.
And helping other nations. That's what we do. So anyway, that was kind of a brief history of it, where we were at from then to here. How I wanted to go over the World War II because that's when it fully expanded.
Correct.
I did not realize Ukraine was one of the founding members of the USSR. That was kind of
that's interesting.
And a tactic. And again, I didn't realize Kiev was in Ukraine.
Yeah. Oh,
until recent, until we started hearing about stuff. I thought Kiev, was Soviet Union, Russia, and it was, but it wasn't when it left. So,
correct.
A lot of things I learned, and to you liberals out there, research helps. Research helps. You can, you don't just watch CNN and that's your research. Sometimes you have to go elsewhere.
You got to dig deep. Sometimes.
Yeah, I reviewed National Geographic. I went out to our favorite people, Wikipedia, and went to a few other ones to make sure that I was getting some of the right information. So,
Correct.
But that's where we're at. That's what happened with Ukraine in where we're at now. So, I'm sorry I rushed through it. If it seemed like I rushed through it.
You didn't rush through it at all. You didn't at all. No, it took us to 91, which is
right.
That's where Ukraine became again, became,
just the Ukraine.
Just the Ukraine and not a part of Russia. Although still to this day, even highly Russia influence into Ukraine.
Oh, yeah. Especially the east side.
Yeah. And before I start my portion of this from 91 forward, which probably will take longer and may be more boring, but I'll just let you know.
Can I add something real quick before you go in?
You can.
Because it's kind of interesting when you look at, remember how I went back, I was going to point this out, but I forgot. Remember how I went back to the United People's Republic, the Ukrainian People Republic, Kiev, and then Kharkov?
Yeah.
If you look at Ukraine today, the eastern side is still more pro-Russia, whereas the western side is more west. That was my point.
That's
right?
what.
So that's kind of interesting about how that. Yeah.
More Europe influences, EU influences, whereas the eastern side is heavily Russia influenced. Right. So there's division there. And there's thought processes for both. And before I get into mine, neither country's good. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, neither country is innocent here. I know we are all Putin's the bad guy, and he truly is on this. I think this is, I have no doubt in my mind that he's the tyrant here on this one, but the corruption in Ukraine is crazy.
Yeah, and so just real quick, going to what President Trump was basically impeached about. It was supposedly he was threatening Ukraine that you're not getting this money unless this. But there was a certain person on.
Well, we get to that.
Sorry. You're doing okay.
Yeah, we kind of get to that. Okay. As part of.
Shut up and let you go.
No. You don't have to shut up and let me go. It's just part of an afterthought on it. So, I mean, reserve your comments till the end, please, and your applause. I might add. But Jim, thank you for the base, that research. Thank you for that research. I'm going to begin with 91 and move forward.
Okay.
There's a lot. Some of it's important. Some of it I thought was extremely interesting. Some of it might just be, it's real quick. Like, I'll just start. So 91, Kruvkik, the leader of the Soviet Republic of Ukraine, declares independence from Moscow. That happened in 1991. Super important because that's how they got to that point. In a referendum and presidential election, Ukrainians approve independence and elect Kravchuk. I think it's Kravchuk. That's how you say his name, or Kravchuk, as president. 91, that's who he was. In 92, Ukraine signed the Lisbon Protocol. I didn't know anything about this. Agreeing to return the nuclear weapons it had inherited from the Soviet Union back to Russia. So in 92, they signed an agreement to return nuclear weapons and armory that they received from Russia prior to their independence in 91. Members of Ukrainian parliament soon after increasingly voiced serious concerns over that, turning over everything to Russia, in part due to their fears of someday Russia wanting them back. This is 92. So you think about what are we, 40 years later, 30 years later, I mean, they were worried back then that this exact thing could happen. So throughout 92 and 93, Russia and the Clinton White House, super important, worked to convince Ukraine to give up all of its nuclear weapons. So Clinton was backing this effort with Russia to have Ukraine turn over all their nuclear weapons. They didn't want a nuclear-armed Ukraine. The United States back then did not want a nuclear-armed Ukraine. After substantial political pressure, Ukraine caved in 94. So in 1994, Clinton president, by the way, at the time, but only after the United States, Russia, and the United Kingdom agreed to protect Ukraine in the event of a future attack on the nation's sovereignty. as well as financial support and a number of other assurances. Ukraine dismantled and relinquished its nuclear weapons, giving President Clinton and the Russians a diplomatic victory. The decision has haunted Ukraine ever since. And that's true.
Well, you think if they still had those nukes, Russia may not be going in.
May not be going in. So at least the threat of them, right?
Yep. Right.
And so you take briefly, it's Trump's fault because of the way he handled Ukraine. It's Biden's fault because of the way he handled Ukraine. Let's go back to Clinton.
Right.
Let's go back to your boy, Bill, Slick Willie, who at the time, perhaps in his own mind, thought this is the right decision. We don't need another nuclear power of some sort, right? But you have to be a little more forward thinking than that. It's easy hindsight now to look back on that and say, what a shitty decision, Bill, right. One of many. But he, you still have to have that leader that looks more forward than backward. So Clinton, in bed with Russia, decides to do this. And Ukraine turns over all their nuclear weapons, leaving them with, basically the assurance that we're going to be there to help them. Okay.
Yeah. See, that was the key thing that I took from that is that we guaranteed that there would be help.
We guaranteed there'd be help to them. Guaranteed it back then. Whoops. But, the next day, what happened? Oh, yeah. Whoops.
I was adjusting my chair and I about fell backwards. You missed it.
Oh, my God. If I'd have
Go
seen
back and
that.
watch it.
God, if I'd have seen that. In 94, Leonid Kuchma beats Kravchuk in a presidential election deemed largely free and fair.
From the Kiev
94.
Kuchmas.
Yeah, from the famous Kiev Kuchmas. So I'm trying to be serious here, man.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm kidding. I don't. Now I'm up to 1999. Is anybody in the audience still with us?
Great song.
I'm up to 1999. Kuchma is reelected in a vote. What they said was riddled with irregularities. So obviously, probably similar to the 2020, allegedly, YouTube vote here. Anyways, I go on. In 2004, pro-Russia candidate Viktor Yanukovych is declared president, but allegations of vote rigging trigger protests in what becomes known as the Orange Revolution, forcing a rerun of the vote in 2004. Okay. Mm-hmm. A pro-Western former prime minister, Viktor, I'm going to screw this name up for sure. Viktor Yushchenko is elected president. So a pro-Russia president was elected in this Viktor Yanukovych, but there were allegations of rigging. And so they said, well, that can't happen. So now a pro-Western, Western being European, United States, that's pro-Western, was then elected. Yushchenko takes power with promises to lead Ukraine out of the Kremlin's orbit towards NATO and the EU. This is where that becomes important. So in 2005, he's going to, they've broken away from Russia. They're basically a European Union, largest country in Europe at this point, by the way, in case anybody didn't know that, landmass population. I was surprised when I found that.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff was surprising. Yeah.
It was very surprising. He appoints former energy company boss Yulia Tymoshenko, I probably screwed that up too, as prime minister, but after infighting in the pro-Western camp, she is... Is there any way to mute that, Jim?
No, because it's not my cell phone.
I know. But you can turn the volume off on your computer. You know that, right?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my God. Once again, welcome to the highly professional Two Guys, One Coup, where, nothing is out of the ordinary for us. Are we good now? Can I go on?
Yeah, I think so.
I just didn't know if I wanted to be interrupted again. See, even when you're not interrupting me, your electronic equipment is interrupting me. God.
I'm sorry.
Taking applications for a new host. In 2008, now that we're moving on, Ukraine applies to initiate ties with NATO. This whole NATO thing you're going to hear about, right? Okay. So North Atlantic Treaty Organization, it's a group of countries, including the United States, Germany, Poland. I mean, these are allies in NATO at this point. You're going to hear a lot about NATO because that's really important to this whole story. Okay. Again, Ukraine applies to initiate ties with NATO. That same year, NATO promises Ukraine it will one day join the alliance. So in 2008, NATO and their allies promise they're going to bring Ukraine in. That would really piss Russia off, right?
Well, that was one of the contentions.
So here we go. In 2010, Yanukovych defeats Tymoshenko in a presidential election. Russia and Ukraine clinch a gas pricing deal in exchange for extending the lease for the Russian Navy in the Ukrainian Black Sea port. So again, they strike a deal for fuel. Russia can have their ships in. Ukraine and Russia still tied, right? Together, still kind of have this tie. President Yanukovych shelved the intention of joining NATO at that time. So 2008, NATO promises based on his request. In 2010, he says, we need fuel from you, Russia. You could park your ships there in the sea, and we're not going to join NATO. Okay? In 2013, Yanukovych's government suspends trade and association talks with the EU. In November of that year, of 2013, and opts to revive economic ties with Moscow, triggering months of mass rallies in Kiev, Ukraine's capital. What's going on here, right? We want to join NATO. We hate Russia. We need something from Russia. We hate NATO. We want to join Russia.
Right.
Back and forth there, okay? And all within a 3 or 4 year span. This is happening. In 2013, Yanukovych's government, I said that already. In 2014, your buddy Obama watched as Russian-backed rebels with support from Russian troops seized control of Crimea, a region belonging to Ukraine.
Right.
Crimea was once part of Russia because Ukraine was once part of Russia. Right. Once Ukraine separated, Crimea was part of Ukraine. 2014, Putin decides I'm going to go in and get Crimea back. And what did we do when that happened? The Obama administration, working alongside officials from the European Union, responded by issuing sanctions and freezing Russia assets. That sounds familiar.
Yep.
To me. What did it do? Nothing. They went in, they took over Crimea. That's that.
Right.
That's what happened. But we issued sanctions, which is exactly what we're doing now. Issuing sanctions. So just keep that in mind as this goes on.
We'll go into more of the sanctions. Excuse me.
Jim, am I boring you? Is this are you learning anything? Am I boring you?
No, actually it is.
Okay. All right. I'm not saying I didn't ask the audience. They'll tell me, I'm sure, if I'm boring them. So in 2014, also, protests, the Ukrainians were protesting all this, largely focused around Kiev's Maidan Square. So protests for the war of Crimea, okay, Russia going into Crimea, they held protests in Kiev in their square, which you've been seeing a lot of on the news.
Right.
Dozens of protesters were killed. In February of 2014, Parliament voted to remove Yanukovych, who flees the country. Said, I'm out, which is, again, opposite of the leader you're seeing today in Ukraine. Within days, armed men seized parliament in the Ukrainian region of Crimea and raised the Russian flag. Moscow annexes the territory after a March 16th referendum, which shows overwhelming support in Crimea for joining the Russian Federation. Crimea voted to join the Russian Federation. Now, did they vote? Was it on the up and up? They say 94% of them voted to join back Russia, leave Ukraine, go back to Russia. Did that really happen? Were they threatened? We don't know. Okay, but it happened. So now Crimea is part of Russia. Putin went in 2014, Nothing happened. We put sanctions on. That's it. It's over. In April of that year, pro-Russian separatists in the eastern region of the Donbass declare independence. That's hard to understand, but eastern region of that area. Fighting breaks out, which has continued sporadically despite frequent ceasefires into this year even. So since 2014 till now, there's been this border fighting, constant border fighting, okay? Excuse me. In May of 2014, businessman Petro Poroshenko wins a presidential election with a pro-Western agenda. So once again, Ukraine elects a president who now is more in favor of European and NATO than they are of Russia. In July of that year, a missile brings down passenger plane MH17 en route from Amsterdam to Malaysia, killing all 298 people on board. Mm-hmm. The weapon used is traced back by investigators to Russia, which denies involvement. I think we all know this is not conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. Russia shot down a passenger plane.
With the help of Trump.
Yeah. Back in 2014. Yeah, with the help of Trump. Yeah, because that was Trump's fault. Mm-hmm. Exactly. In 2012, Ukraine and European unions initiate association agreement. I kind of skipped back a little bit, but let me go back. In 2013, Ukraine Foreign Affairs Minister said Russia simply cannot believe Ukraine EU's association would come true. So they're not saying that they're going to associate with them, whatever. In October of 2015, the Washington Post reported elite units of the Russian army are in Ukraine. So in 2015, we had Russian units in Ukraine trying to fight. In 2016, Ukraine reported increased military presence along the Crimea border. So the border the Crimea, which was once part of Ukraine, now Russia, troops are lined up there and beginning to fight. I'm skipping a little bit, but in 2017, an association agreement between Ukraine and the EU opens markets for trade and goods and services and visa-free travel to the EU for Ukrainians. So now Ukraine is back in favor with the EU. Mm-hmm. Russia, again, is saying, what the hell's going on? So you're going to become part of NATO. We don't want a NATO country on our border.
Right.
Okay. I don't blame them for that. Mm-hmm. Okay. I wouldn't want a socialist country on our border. Canada. I'm just saying. Might happen. I mean, it's getting there, right? Yep. In 2018, Russia concludes the construction of a bridge over Kerch Strait, thus obstructing waterways to Ukraine and obstructing the ships. So they constructed a bridge, not allowing ships to go into Ukraine. So they've been building this up for a long time. We know this. In 2019, a new Ukrainian Orthodox church wins formal recognition, angering the Kremlin. What also happened in 2019? Former comedian and actor Vladimir Zelensky defeats Poroshenko in an April presidential election on promise to tackle corruption and end the war in eastern Ukraine. His Servant of the People party wins a July parliamentary election. So Zelensky, current president, you probably know the history of him, right? Mm-hmm. He was an actor. He was in a comedy where a school teacher actually became president of Ukraine, and he did it. He won. He's president of Ukraine. We're up to January 2021, so we're getting close, my friend. January 2021, Zelensky, appeals to Biden, who is now at the time the U.S. president, to let Ukraine join NATO. He asks to let Ukraine join NATO in 2021, knowing that's going to piss off the Russians. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't care. It's his country, and he's thinking about his country first. Nothing wrong with that, right? Also in January 2021, Biden halted the production of the Keystone Pipeline. Why is that important? What does that matter in all of this? Allowing more dependency on foreign oil, specifically Russia.
Right. Yep.
So he shuts down the Keystone Pipeline, allowing for oil and energy dependence for the United States, shuts that down where we were getting, I think we were able to get 865 million barrels a day or something like that. Am I wrong? Is that a wrong
we
term?
were energy independent there for a while.
And now we're relying on what's called the Nord Stream 2 pipeline over in Russia, which Trump stopped funding, which Biden is now funding.
Yep.
And now we're getting 500 million barrels from them, something like that, of oil.
Well, but he's releasing 60 million gallons from the reserve worldwide.
Yeah, thank God, isn't he?
But we wouldn't have to do that if we keep.
Wouldn't
anyway.
have to do that. Wouldn't have to do
so
that.
what you're saying, in some instances, we are financing this war in a way.
We're completely financing this war, along with everybody else who's dependent on Russia oil now. We are financing this war, all the while saying, we're behind you, Ukraine.
And this is
We're
Trump's
standing
fault.
up behind you. And this is Trump's fault.
It's Trump's fault.
That's an important part of this whole puzzle right now.
Yeah.
Not the history. They've been fighting for a while. We knew this was going to happen. They're back and forth. Russia wants Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't want to be with Russia. Then sometimes Ukraine wants to be with Russia. And Russia's like, okay. And then
Depends
all of a sudden again, depends who's the leader, right? Been going back and forth forever. But now that we're actually funding the war, thanks to Joe Biden's policies, right? In February of 2021, Zelensky's government imposes sanctions on Viktor Medvedchuk, an opposition leader of the Kremlin's most prominent ally in Ukraine. In spring of that year, Russia masses troops, spring of 2021, Russia masses troops near Ukraine's border and what they are saying are training exercises. I don't know if you remember hearing that last year, but that was happening spring of 2020. We've had a long time to prepare for what's happened today, you know. Also, in October of 2021, Ukraine uses a Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drone. They use a Turkish drone for the first time in eastern Ukraine. So they're using a drone. It's an attack drone. So, and they're angering Russia. Right? So, oh God, they got drones. So now what happens? In autumn of that year, fall, I call it fall. I don't do autumn. Russia again begins massing troops near Ukraine. So 2021, fall of 2021, more troops are being put on the Ukraine border, knowing that a conflict is inevitable or potential at least, right?
Right.
In November of that year, satellite imagery shows a fresh buildup of Russian troops along the Ukraine border. In December of that year, Joe Biden and Vladimir Putin engaged in a telephone conversation for 2 hours, wherein the U.S. president mentioned that he would put sanctions on Russia if Kremlin urged its forces to enter Ukraine. So once again, just like Obama did with sanctions when they took over Crimea, Biden is now threatening sanctions again to a country that we are supporting with lots of money, billions of dollars,
especially now,
to buy their oil. What are sanctions going to do to them? What did sanctions do to them? We now know. Joe Biden then assures President Zelensky that the U.S. will respond decisively if Russia attempts an annexation. Decisively. Tough words from a weak man. Tough words. January of 2022. The U.S. and Russian officials meet in Geneva for diplomatic talks, but talks remained unresolved as Moscow continued being adamant on security demands. Side note here. The U.S. delivers a written reply to Putin while offering a principled and pragmatic response to Russia's demands. China intrudes by saying that the U.S. should pay heed to Moscow's legitimate security concerns. So now China's involved. Now, you heard the report this week. I'm jumping in, but where Biden discussed with President Xi of China their plans, and then President of China gave those plans to Russia.
Right.
Trust China, Joe says.
Yeah.
China Joe.
Yeah.
President Zelensky urges the West to avoid creating a panic, while Putin stated that he is ready to continue talking as his demands are not addressed. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas, addressed the council session saying that the Russian invasion of Ukraine will be a threat to global security. Not wrong. Not wrong. On January 14th, a cyber attack warning Ukrainians to be afraid and expect the worst hits Ukrainian government websites.
Right. That was the first act.
That's the first act. January 17th, Russian forces start arriving in Belarus to the north of Ukraine for joint drills. Belarus, very obviously pro-Russia, right? Mm-hmm. They're Russia.
Yep.
So January 24th, NATO puts forces on standby and reinforces Eastern Europe with more ships and fighter jets. On January 26th, Washington presents a written response to Russian security demands, Washington being Biden, repeating a commitment to NATO's open door policy while offering pragmatic discussions of Moscow's concerns. So on January 26th, we again state we would welcome Ukraine into NATO. Keep in mind the whole time being told we need to fight democracy, which Ukraine is not a full democracy, and we need to protect our NATO allies, which Ukraine is not in NATO. Okay? Knowing that Vladimir Putin wants nothing, absolutely the most important thing to him is that they do not join NATO, Joe Biden then states, we welcome you to NATO.
Right.
We still, the door's open. We want you in NATO. January 28th, Russian President Putin says Russia's main security demands have not been addressed. On February 1st, Putin denies having plans to annex Ukraine. What? You mean Putin lied? What? I mean, a Russian communist leader lied? Come on.
Former
Come
KGB.
on, did he?
Yeah. I can't believe he lied.
Yeah,
wow.
I can't believe he lied. He's always seemed so trustworthy. February 2nd, the United States says it will send 3,000 extra troops to Poland and Romania to help shield NATO allies in Eastern Europe from any spillover from the crisis, which I think they'd sent 5,000 to 8,000 now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, over. February 4th, Putin at the Beijing Winter Olympics wins Chinese support for his demand that Ukraine not be allowed to join NATO. So while this is all going on and everyone's complaining about what a tyrant, Putin is, he met with the president of China. They had this agreement. A unified China and Russia is not good for the world.
Those
are two nuclear superpowers right there. Okay. On February 7th, French President Emmanuel Macron, sees some hopes for a diplomatic resolution. Leave it up to the French.
Did they bring the white flag with them?
Waving the white flag.
Right there?
Yep. On February 9th, Biden says things could go crazy quickly. I don't know if he was talking about his upcoming State of the Union speech or this, but as the U.S. State Department advises Americans in Ukraine to leave immediately. Other countries also urge their nationals to leave. This is crazy. I know it's taken so long, and I apologize, but there's just a little bit more, okay? On February 11th, the Pentagon ordered 3,000 troops to Poland. We know that. On February 12th, Biden and Putin hold another virtual meeting, so telephone meeting or video meeting, wherein the United States President Biden said that the Ukrainian invasion would cause widespread human suffering, while Russia claimed the U.S. and NATO did not redress Kremlin's demands satisfactorily, which is simply we're not going to allow them into NATO. Mm-hmm. I don't know because Putin's a tyrant, but I think if you say that, I think then that opens up more diplomatic talks where pull your troops back. We're not bringing them into NATO. It's not happening. It's never happening. I think that would have stopped it. I don't know. You tell me. I mean, who can say for sure, right?
I think Putin had all intentions of doing this.
I think he did too, but at least you tell him.
What NATO ally, because you invade a NATO nation, NATO's supposed to come to your aid, right?
Well, NATO has to come to your aid.
Would
right?
they?
That's the whole thing.
Would they have?
Would NATO or the United States?
Well, we're a big part of that. Would it?
We are.
No, I don't think they would have.
They wouldn't have.
And
So
Putin,
there was no
Putin
point.
knew that.
Yeah, Putin knew that.
Which is why he didn't do it under the last president.
Because he didn't know that under the last president. He wasn't sure what would happen under the last president.
Right.
He knew right now and then that America has a weakness. First of all, he saw the debacle of our withdrawal in Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What did that show him? That showed him our foreign policy shit.
Yep.
He showed that despite some of the smartest people in the world telling you how to get out of Afghanistan the right way, he did it the wrong way. He's got a weak leader in the United States, and he sees that. That's the bottom line. Yep. I'm going to jump ahead because I've been going on so long, but we all know now that this attack is going on. It's continuing to go on. It has, as of today, is still going on, even though they're saying, we're still going to have talks. We want to have talks. They're dropping bombs in Kiev.
Right.
They're the capital. They're dropping bombs in Kiev. Zelensky's fighting with them. He had a way out. They offered him a way out, and Zelensky said, "I don't need a ride. I need weapons. I need ammunition." I got to give that guy credit. I mean, the guy is really standing up for his people. I think it goes again. So you look at his background. He was a comedian. He was an actor, basically an actor, became president. You don't need career politicians to show true leadership. We had that in Trump.
Right.
We had that in Reagan. Reagan was an actor.
Yep.
One of, if not the greatest president in the United States, I think.
Yeah. By far. Yeah.
By far. So anyways, that brings us up to today where this is still going on. I've kind of went on a while about it.
It's all right.
But just know that, I think there's a couple things that I have a couple theories. I don't know if you do or not. My first theory is that, and again, theories can't be proven. Fact, I don't know. Right. Just a thought process. I must preface that before YouTube says, you're misinformation. Pull you down. 2 guys, 1, whatever you're called. Yeah. I think Biden's absolutely okay with this happening. I think he's absolutely okay with all of this happening for a couple of reasons. Because it takes away from the failures that he is having domestically, because all the focus and all the media and everything you read about is Russia, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine, Russia, Ukraine. They associate Russia with Trump because obviously that's how Trump got elected, right? I mean,
right.
So this is all good news for Biden.
Yeah, see, all the applause last night from both sides of the aisle was when he was talking about Ukraine.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
He's so deep into Ukraine. He's so deep into Russia. He's corrupt with both of them that there's no reason. He has no skin in the fight here, right? He's like, I'm nice with Russia. I'm nice with Ukraine. My boy Hunter got a bunch of money. People are saying, don't bring that up. I've heard that. Don't even bring up the Ukraine, Russia, Burisma, the energy company that Hunter was taking millions from. Don't bring up the fact that at one point, Vice President Biden went over to Ukraine to tell their attorney general that he better stop the investigation of Hunter Biden or they won't get the funding Obama promised them.
Yeah, and it's on video.
It's on video. That's what we were going to talk
about,
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he's recorded saying that and bragging about it. And so where's the real corruption? What's the real story here? What are your theories on it?
Well, my theories on it is, one, I believe Biden knew exactly what Putin was going to do, and that's why they were talking.
Well, he sure had enough warning, as we found out.
Biden told Putin what we were going to do from sanction standpoint.
He sure did.
And in a way, because if you watched the State of the Union last night, you would have thought that he got all the other leaders together and they're leading this effort. And it didn't sound like that. If early on, it sounded like, in all honesty, France, Germany, and all these countries were leading the rally against sanctions against Russia, whereas Biden. So he may have had a couple phone calls, but sorry, people, that's not what happened.
No.
I don't know if it's a what was that movie? Wag the Tail. Or Wag the Dog, or whatever. I don't. They didn't make this war up, but I think he knew, and he knows what's going on. And if I was Taiwan, I'd be scared to death.
I'd be scared to death because China's going to do it to Taiwan.
Yep.
Mark our words. We've been saying it for a while. I think people might be saying it. I don't think people are paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is diverting from what's going on. China's already flying airplanes into Taiwan airspace. They're sending ships out to Taiwan, right?
Mm-hmm.
To in their waters.
Yep.
What do you think's going to happen?
Yep.
And keep in mind, Taiwan makes a majority of the chips, the microchips for the vehicles.
And you want China to have control of that.
You want to have China have control of that. Okay.
But going back to the Ukraine-Russia thing, I mean, everybody was always talking about how Trump was in with Russia, the collusion, and all that stuff.
Putin,
and then
that's right.
The reason why Trump was impeached was because he was making threats to the Ukraine, doing this when there was nothing. People that were saying they heard it weren't even it. It was from somebody who heard it from somebody who heard it from someone.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And so there was never really any evidence. We actually have this president right now saying that, hey, I told him right then that if they don't back off that attorney general going after my son, I'm going to withhold the money from you. And
that's right.
And I'll tell Obama I'm not going to do it. I mean, he actually said this.
He says this on video.
And so that right there, if you look at what happened with this man should have been impeached as vice president.
Absolutely.
At the time that he was there. So
absolutely.
I do believe Biden knew everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I think these sanctions are because I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. I'm sorry, but there's just sometimes you got to look through the smoke sometimes, and
you do.
But it is kind of ironic that we shut the Keystone Pipeline down.
Yes,
allowed Russia, and we made a negotiation to get our oil from Russia, knowing intentions all along with Ukraine. And then when you get this new guy, the Zelensky in there, or Zelensky,
Zelensky. You're talking about Ukrainian president?
Yeah, you get Zelensky in there, who is not a supporter of Russia.
No, not at all.
So I wonder what he thought about that. Mm-hmm. Biden telling him, "Hey, yeah, we can take you in as NATO. We can take you in as NATO," and wanting to be part of NATO, and that was never going to happen.
Never going to happen. So, it was never going to happen.
But we can sit here and talk, because we don't know. I'm not in the meetings. I'm not in there. But we know the administration.
I'm not either. But
right, because the administration is the Obama administration. Let's not.
Yep.
Okay. We're not going to hide anything from that. It is the Obama administration.
and associated with Hillary Clinton. You got Jake Sullivan.
Scary in itself.
Yeah. I mean, they're all the same. When Biden was elected, you basically had Clinton Obama administrations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what you have. Mm-hmm. That's what you elected. Without the smooth talking words of Obama.
Right.
Instead, you've got the bumbling idiot, which we'll get into because he had some moments yesterday in that speech. But
you mean the Iranians?
That's what you get. But it just amazes me, Jim, that it was just jammed down our throat. Trump, Russia, Trump, Russia, Trump, Russia. And the first effing thing Biden does is eliminate our oil dependence and gets in bed with Russia.
Right.
And nothing. Crickets. Silence from the media. Silence from the media. But it was Trump, Russia. How can anybody believe anything a Democrat or liberal says?
They went back to.
How does anybody believe them?
I think it was Gateway Pundit. It was either Gateway Pundit or Fox News that had a video. I think it was from 2016 2016, maybe before that. This before that, maybe 2012. But Putin was singing a song at a Hollywood gathering or something, and people loved him then.
Yeah. Oh yeah, loved him then.
Yeah, so
Putin was the guy.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the guy's KGB. Okay,
he's sneaky
it's like
as shit.
It's like
he's evil.
Would we trust a CIA person that came up to us? Because they're paid to lie, right?
They're paid to lie.
I'm not going to kill you. I'm not going to kill you. I wasn't sent here to kill you. Okay, boom. You turn your back, you're dead. So
dead.
Huh?
Dead.
It's probably the Clinton tactics. How they, all these people commit suicide under the.
They've been suicided. They've been suicided. That's right.
But come on, guys. We always want to go after Donald Trump. Fine, you don't like him. Okay, you didn't like Donald Trump. You don't like Ronald Reagan because he supposedly created the poverty in this country, right? Trickle down economics does not work.
Yeah.
Well, when we get into the wonderful
sure
speech
does.
that he gave last night,
yeah.
We're going to need to talk about how he's going to grow by doing what he wants to do.
Exactly.
It can't. And,
exactly. It can't.
And
but seven. We'll get into that.
We'll get into all of that. But look, guys, I believe he knew this was coming. Mm-hmm. I think all he wanted to find out, the Biden administration, what are you doing? What are your plans? So we can. This is what we're going to do.
Exactly.
And so they did it, and everything. So.
Do you? So, kind of to wrap this segment up, I think at this point, if you want it really put in layman's terms, there's only one person in the world that could do that, and that person's Kamala Harris. So I don't know if you heard this.
I don't know if you heard this. Pieces of it, yeah.
Okay. She was asked by, she was doing a radio interview, and I can't remember with who, and I'm sorry I didn't write that down. But she was asked to put what's happening in Ukraine and Russia in simple terms. What is really happening over there? Here's what she said, and I quote, "Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong." End quote. Can I read it once more just because I want to? I don't care if the listeners want to hear. Kamala Harris said this about the Russia-Ukraine turmoil and what's happened. Again, quote, "Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong." End quote. So there you go. That's it in a nutshell.
She's a heartbeat.
I don't even know why.
She's a heartbeat away from the White House, folks.
She's a heartbeat away from being our leader. I literally, you can't make this shit up.
Well, her leadership on the border crisis has been phenomenal. I mean, it's fixed. There's nothing going on down there now.
Nothing going on. And keep in mind, while all this is happening, Joe Biden's approval rating dropped to 37% this week. So
yeah, and
37%.
Some of the information I want.
Who are those people?
Politico, and Politico has average of all of the polls. Has him at 40.6 on the average. I don't buy it. How can 40.6 of America think I like what we're doing? You know who that is? The people who are hedge fund people, the billionaires.
That's right.
They're the ones that like it.
That's right. They like it. They don't care. It doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect them whatsoever. Filling up their yachts doesn't really have enough.
Our 401ks are taking a hit.
Boy, aren't they?
Yeah,
aren't they?
The hedge fund people aren't because they see it coming.
Yeah,
they know it's coming. It's anyway.
Jim, you might have to wait till you turn 55 to retire. Now,
Well, I'm going to retire next year.
Is that when you're 55?
No.
How old are you, Jim? Do you mind?
It's really none of your damn business.
Agreed.
I was
Well,
born in the greatest year ever.
1966.
69.
Why is that the greatest year ever?
Never mind.
Why? I don't get it. Are you really that young, Jim? Are you really? You're like a pup.
I'm a pup.
I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I couldn't tell by looking at you. Anyways, do you want me to go into a couple of reasons why Ukraine actually matters, though? Like some of the detail. I think it's
because there's got to, it's not just, other than the fact that Putin wants to rebuild Soviet Union,
Russia.
That's
but why does he? Why
Ukraine
what does Ukraine have to offer?
Right.
Yeah. What does Ukraine have to offer? Why would Putin want it? They are first in Europe in proven recoverable reserves for uranium ores.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of uranium.
Yeah.
What does uranium make? What do you get from uranium?
Bombs.
Bombs. Second place in Europe and 10th Second place in Europe and 10th place in the world in terms of titanium ore reserves. So what does all that mean? Who would want that? Second place in the world in terms of explored reserves of manganese ores. I mean, there's some stuff here, Second largest iron ore reserve in the world. Second in Europe in terms of mercury ore reserves. Third in Europe in shale gas reserves. I mean, are you seeing something here? Why would he want any of this stuff? Third, this is important and people might not know it, but third place in the world by area of black soil, 25% of the world's volume. Black soil is rich in nutrients for growth. So farming, food, all that. Third in the world. That's crazy. Let me see another one. They're the third largest producer and fourth largest exporter of corn in the world. So you think your corn pricing's gone up? I mean, we get it from here. Don't get me wrong.
What's amazing.
Just see what's going to happen.
Third.
Yeah.
They're third.
Yes. That's crazy, 10th largest steel producer in the world. So, I mean, I got a list that's much longer. Don't need to go in it any further. They have a lot to offer as far as oil reserves, as far as produce that you can grow there to sell. It's crazy. Here's one. Why is this even a thing? 9th place in the world in the production of chicken eggs. But think about it. I mean, how many eggs do you eat? How many eggs do you need for everything?
With all that uranium in rich soil, those eggs are probably huge.
Probably like ostrich eggs, and poor chickens, Third, I mean, it's crazy. Fourth largest producer of potatoes in the world. I mean, these are staples that people need.
And how much square footage was supposedly non-inhabitable because of Chernobyl?
Oh, I know. That's right. Yeah, you're right. What were you surprised that they went in there and that's kind of the first one they took Chernobyl?
Not at all.
Nobody lives there.
But that's a good place. That's a good base to start, right?
It's a good place to start. You go right over. Nobody's there, and who are there? Their arms are falling off.
A lot of 3-headed children in another 2 years.
Oh, that's right, boy. They'd make good soldiers, I think. Anyway, so that's what I got on Ukraine. And Jim, thank you for your research on the early years, because that was not fun or easy, I'm sure.
Well, like I said, I could have spent a lot longer on it, but I would have bored the heck out of everybody.
I could have too, and I think we've probably bored the heck out of a lot of people already.
Well, because look, we wanted to give people a little. You watch Fox, you can get a lot of this stuff off Fox News, but can you get it from how we did it? Here's where we were. Here's where we're at. Vlad the First of 98 AD was just phenomenal leader.
Yeah, great. Yeah, one of the best ones. One of the best ones. Jim, do you want to talk about
modern day Obama?
The modern day Obama. You want to talk about the state of confusion speech last night?
Yeah.
We haven't had a long time to digest.
Let's be honest. Going into this, if you were a Biden supporter, you were going to think it's going to be great, no matter what he said.
Great.
If you don't like a Biden. I was about ready to say Obama, but same difference. If you don't like Biden, you probably were thinking this is going to be dumb.
That goes on with every president. But either side doesn't like it either way.
He did not disappoint.
Biden came through. He did.
So, some of this, he first started the Ukrainian war, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's some notes that I took from this, okay? He is assigning a task force by the Department of Justice to go after the oligarch's money. The oligarch of Russians' money. He's doing that. Okay. Whatever. All right. They're cutting off the largest banks, choking access to technology to weaken the Russian war.
They are. They supposedly are.
Unifying other European countries. This is what I wanted to bring up because he said, I am unifying other European countries against Russia.
Nope.
I believe
Wrong way.
France was one of the first people in.
They were.
France was one of the first.
People.
So he's not unifying anything.
No.
But again, most of the people that support him aren't going to know that. So
of course not.
Now he did shut off all Russian flights to the United States. So that's the no-fly zone that he established. So the ruble has taken a hit. It is down 30%. Russia's stock market's down 40%.
It is. How much money is going in from oil? How much money?
Well, Okay,
go on.
He is releasing 60 billion barrels of oil along with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And to stop the increased gas prices here at home. There's another way to do that. Start the Keystone Pipeline.
What? I am no economist. I don't know anything about the fuel industry, but I do know gas was $1.89.
Yeah. Well,
I do know it's at $3.60 on my area.
One of the guys that I, we're friends on Facebook, likes to post, "Hey folks, keep in mind, presidents have nothing to do with the price of gas."
Oh, I love when people say that.
And I'm thinking, because then they list all the taxes that are involved in the gas. You're right.
Exactly.
That stuff's exactly right. President's policies can affect it.
Do they?
Yes. Oh, yeah, they affect
Have they? Have they in this?
How low were our gas prices when we were independent from doing our own oil coming through when Trump was in office? How low were our gas prices? Where are they at now? And they're not going down, folks. The 60 billion barrels of oil is not going to bring gas prices down.
They're not going down now thanks to Russia attacking Ukraine and the fact that we're depending on most of our oil from Russia.
But the whole point of the matter is open the Keystone Pipeline, you fix this problem anyway. Those are the sanctions that they're doing, cutting off largest banks. My favorite one is Department of Justice going after the oligarchs in Russia.
Oh, come on.
Okay, fine. And now Putin did issue a warning, by the way. I wanted to point out that
I'd like to.
Cyber attacks could be coming for those countries, especially the United States, that are
don't think it won't happen either.
Yeah.
Do not think that won't happen either.
So but that was his basic on Russia and what was going on.
Yeah, so I mean, I made some notes too. The United Front.
He quoted. Sorry, the American consumer is not going to be hurt by gas prices. Go ahead.
I know he said that. He said that.
Yeah. Yep.
Little late, Joey.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Little late, Joey.
Anymore.
Anyways, anymore. Oh, anymore. Yeah, it'll be more. It's going to be more. The unifying speech on Ukraine and his, I'll give him this much. It was good. The talk was good, right? On that portion of it.
Yeah.
Yes, we all agree. Thank you for making that talk. I mean, the only way he could have effed that up if he said we are all unified with Russia. All he had to say was Ukraine. Yeah. He had to remember that in his teeny brain, and everybody would have stood up and applauded because, yes, right? Hey, we're all in. Although I'm going to do some research on, and I kind of switch it again because that's what we do because my brain works this way.
We do.
I'm going to do research on the congressmen who actually get funds from Russia, one way or the other, whether it's via Russia banks or Russia oligarchs or any of those. I'm going to do some research on that. I'm going to come back with that. So I know one does already. I just know one. I don't know how many more, but I know there's more. But it's Representative Eric Swalwell of California. Yep. You remember the guy that was sleeping with the Chinese spy?
Yeah,
him.
Yeah, wonderful person.
Yeah, he gets funded by a Russian bank, I believe. I believe took donations from him. But anyways, so of course he was going to unify everybody with that portion of it, right? Yay, we're all against Ukraine. Vladimir Putin's a tyrant. We know that. Clap, yay. Yep. Nancy Pelosi could sit back there and chew her cud, do everything else behind him. Look great. I like this quote from him, to be honest with you. Quote. Again, I love quotes. They just give us so many opportunities with this administration. You know, Putin may circle Kiev with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people.
Yeah, that was the one. I had to read. I had to listen to that.
I listened to it over. I listened to it. I tried to make Ukrainian out of Iranian. I couldn't do it.
I stopped.
I couldn't do it.
And you know what? He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. He'll never win the heart
over the Iranian.
You're right. I fact checked it, and they're never going to win the hearts of the Iranian people. I did do that. I listened to that. I'm just like, I get people make mistakes. This was to me. This was the most important speech of his presidency. Yep. Right?
I think it was his first one, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because he sort of did a State of the Union thing. Oh, and how do you like that the mask mandates were lifted the day before?
You notice that?
In Washington. Yeah. Well, you know why? Because your girlfriend, Jen Psaki, said, well, we go follow the CDC guidelines. Yeah. And the CDC said that our area is experiencing less COVID, so now we don't have to wear masks. Sneaky bitch, I'm telling you. But anyways, and you love her.
I didn't say I love her. No, I did not. She's a Bengals fan, and she's a redhead. So what? I mean,
you know, her being a Bengals fan would immediately make me want to not be a Bengals fan. Yeah. Not you.
My loyalty.
That's how much you love her.
My loyalty.
She's a Bengals fan. She's got red hair. Yeah, and she's stupid, and that's you like that.
Well, I'm not saying she's intelligent. I'm not saying that at all.
You like that about her,
yeah.
You naughty man. Anyways, I think the real winner was Representative Lauren Boebert.
Oh, that was fabulous.
Oh man, so he's talking about in the speech about soldiers, about vets, and all that, and bringing them home, you know, with flagged draped coffins, and she yells out, 13 of them.
Yep.
That's the 13 soldiers that we lost in Afghanistan during his debacle.
Yep.
And of course, what did he respond with? I know. That's what he said to him. And of course, the Democrats all booed.
And did you know a wall's not going to stop a pandemic or a vaccine?
It's not going to. Yeah.
No, but it might stop illegals from coming into this country. I don't know.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene yelling, "Build the wall."
Yep.
You know, these people.
And the representative,
need to follow those people.
The representative wearing "Drill Baby Drill" on the back of her outfit.
Yes, that was Boebert.
Yep,
that was Boebert. That was her, the one who said the 13.
You know, it's good.
It's good, but you remember now. Keep in mind as he's doing this, it was really. To me, it was a look at everything I'm doing right, but I can't mention the supply chain crisis. Nope. I can't mention the mask mandate.
He did mention it, but he's going to fix it.
Well, that's what he said. Yep. Oh, and what else is he going to do? Again, what is Joe Biden going to do that he has said before? End cancer.
Yeah.
He's going to end cancer. Joe Biden is.
Hey, he
said that years ago.
Yeah, and the one thing that I wanted to really talk about this, and because this is where he gets his people. Fair share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I know.
Because his comment was, I don't want a billionaire or a millionaire to pay the same tax rate as a nurse, or he gave that example of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Federal tax, yeah. It's income tax. How many times do we have to say that? Billionaires don't make income.
Exactly.
Now, you got capital gains taxes out there, so they pay a lot of taxes. Sure. So if you're going with federal taxes, they don't pay federal taxes because they don't make a federal income. They don't have an income. Yep. That's not what these people do. Okay?
That's right.
So
each and every time. That's not what
this is where it goes off, where he says now he's going to set up a 15% minimum tax rate on anybody making over $400,000 a year. And he quotes, no one making under $400,000 will see a dime go up. We're not going to see a dime. It's probably going to be a quarter, 50 cents. But
well, what I love about it is that so even if that does come true, even if anybody under $400,000 doesn't see a dime go up in their taxes, what do you think is going to happen to those people that it does affect, that are supplying the goods and services you use every day and can't get on your show?
And minimum wage.
But use every day. And minimum wage. So you won't see it in your taxes, but you're just going to see it on every damn thing you buy in your life.
We need people to understand this, and this is kind of what you're never going to get a true liberal to understand it. You can tax the wealthy all you want. How's that going to help?
You can do it all you want. Yep.
How's that going to help? That money's only going to last so long. and
what are they going to do? You tax them, regulate them, which is a tax, and tax them. And where are they going to go?
Yep.
They're going to go down to Mexico.
Okay,
they're going to go overseas again.
And here's what I need: one of these Rhodes Scholar economists that he referenced on there. I think 15 of them. He said
17 Nobel laureate.
So
17 of them.
Okay, so I want one of them to explain to me how we're going to build our economy from the bottom and middle out. I want to see this. I really do.
Exactly.
Because middle class and the lower class rely on the upper class for the jobs, for the opportunities. I don't understand how you're going to do this. You know how to do it?
Build them up.
Yeah. Cut their taxes.
That's exactly
because that gives them more money to spend. Yeah. So,
correct.
Millionaires are always going to be, or billionaires and wealthy people are always going to be wealthy. All right, that's what's going to happen.
Always.
You and I've already addressed it. You're going to we're going to go after them. We're going to make them pay 15% federal taxes on their earnings for the year. Let's just say they're going to do that because that's the only way to do it. How you figure this out, I don't know. So let's just say that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that iPhone that I like, it's going to go up. It's already expensive as it is. It's going to go up even higher. Yep. You're going to go $15 an hour. All right. Well, that $2.59 Big Mac is now going to be $4.
Exactly.
And the jobs aren't going to be out there because they're not going to hire as many people. And with fast food restaurants around here, most of them you don't go in. It's only drive-through. And we've lifted
that's because they
go ahead.
That's because they can't get help.
Exactly. Well, I think it's never going to change. Because if you go to $15 an hour, they're not going to hire people.
They're not going to hire people.
Cut costs is what he said. Not salaries, cut cost.
Costs.
Okay. How are we going to do that?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He championed all these things. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to eliminate cancer. How?
Yeah. Well, we work in a business.
No solution.
Sector.
I could say a bunch of shit.
How do you cut costs?
Go on. Well,
what's the most expensive cost that you have in a company?
Overhead. People.
Yes. People.
Yeah, people. Yeah.
Businesses
it's your people.
Want to make money. Amazon, they what was it, a decade ago, said that our goal is to, if we're not making any money but making the world a better place, so be it.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He may have said it. He didn't mean it because
he didn't mean it.
Where everywhere you see an Amazon fulfillment going up. All right.
Correct.
They're making a pretty significant profit.
They are.
So look, wages come up per competition. Wages come up per competition when things are out there. Like under President Trump, when he cut all the taxes. Corporate tax rates were cut. So we had to get employees. So what did we do? We had to go up. Our minimum was up. It went up. All of it over $15. So
correct.
But these individuals who inevitably, what is this doing? It's typical liberalism. We're punishing the successful. We're punishing the people who succeed, and the people who don't want to succeed
Yep.
It's not fair to you guys. So you guys keep
Correct.
doing what you're doing.
Never.
You keep doing what you're doing. We're going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well,
that's right. Remember? Yeah. Yep. I mean, so having said all that, do you remember the great words of Barack Obama about?
I don't know if there
Joe
was
Biden?
ever one great word spoken.
Oh, there's one that I agree with. There's one statement I agree with, and I think you will too. Remember when Barack Obama said this? Don't underestimate Joe's ability to fuck things up.
Okay.
Quote. Remember that?
Yep.
Obama said that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
the
also,
great Obama. For those of you out there that supported Obama, hey, we found something we can all agree on.
Yeah. And how many times did he say "Buy America"? I counted 3.
Oh, I know. Yeah, exactly.
What did that sound like?
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. America first, huh?
Is that a national, kind of sort of a nationalist view?
Yeah, I just thought that was
sounds
funny
like that
because on my notes here, everywhere I did it, Trump pushed this. Trump pushed this. Trump pushed this.
I know, exactly. And Trump said it, Trump pushed it, and then what happened?
Here was the most offensive thing.
Trump had it. Go on.
Here's the most offensive thing he said to me. Or not to me. Well, to me. He was speaking to me. But here's one of the things that I caught that really pissed me off. Okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
His answer, not to defund the police, but to fund the police.
Correct.
I was livid.
Exactly. We didn't even talk about that. That's right.
Oh, yeah. I was livid. I got big exclamation points on my note here. It's like, oh, you son of a bitch. It's like,
I know. When all they talked about was defunding police, right? All they did was create that turmoil. And you know what? There is so much division on the left because even with what President Biden is doing and saying, the progressive, the squad bitches still had to come out with their own reply to it, right? Mm-hmm. Their own response to the State of the Union. Yep. Rashida Tlaib, he didn't go. She's as far left as you can get on the spectrum, I think, I think between her and Omar and AOC and that other one, I can't remember her name.
Go ahead.
Go on.
Do you think
Omar I was just going to say, Omar, for president, for what?
Do you think she runs again for her position in the House?
Yeah, I do. Why do you not?
Because if the Republicans win the House back, she's going to prison.
Oh, I know.
You don't think they're not going to? You don't think they're going to go after her? She has broken so many laws that the average you and I would be in jail right now and serving a hefty fine. I think she's. I would not be surprised if these keep going. The polls keep going the way they are.
Yeah.
If she decides not to run.
Really,
I do because if you look at everything that's out there on her and people look, it's bad. Okay, and I'm not even counting marrying her brother to get him over here.
I know.
I'm not counting that. I know. All right.
Yeah.
So this is other stuff that she's doing with funding for campaign money and stuff like that. She and AOC's kind of in that same ballpark, by the way. But
exactly.
So
exactly,
these squad people better watch it if the Republicans win because I hope. I hope they don't come in. We're going to be unity. We're gonna like if Kevin McCarthy, if he ends up being speaker, if he comes out and says, we're just going to forget everything. We got to work together, move forward. That's just
Why is Jim Jordan not being asked to be Speaker of the House?
Well, he might be. It depends on who votes him in. I mean, it
depends on who votes. That's right.
But McCarthy seems to be, someone that probably, and I don't want him to be. I really don't.
I don't want to. I don't either.
I want somebody with some guts that's going to go up to him and say,
exactly.
You broke the law, Omar. You're out.
Yeah, you're out.
And we're going to.
So I think if McCarthy is, and I think if McConnell retains his position in the Senate as a House and Senate majority leader, they don't do anything to her. Those two rhinos don't do shit to her.
But that's what I'm hoping happens because we need to go. No, no more of this crap. Go right back at him. I don't care.
Exactly.
I'm done. I'm done being the better person.
Exactly.
I'm tired.
I agree.
And
I'm tired of it too.
And what really got me pissed off was the whole freaking on not defunding the police. You son of a bitch. You started the whole damn stuff.
You started it all. I know. And that's the part that pissed off most of the squad, too.
Now.
Was that part. Yes, sir.
Did you catch the Freedom to Vote Act?
I did. Did I not?
He wants to have lawful, legal.
Oh, God, yeah.
Voting.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
By the way, for all you people who listen to 8 and 9, episodes 8 and 9, there is God, I wish I would have wrote his name down. He is pushing to decertify the Wisconsin 2020 elections.
Maybe I can look that up while you're talking about it.
Yeah, and there was evidence found. This is why he's pushing to decertify it. Now, they may not, but they're pushing to decertify the election because of irregularities found.
Correct.
So
Correct.
This Freedom to Vote Act, I need somebody, to explain to me how asking an individual to bring an ID to your voting place and limiting the number of mail-in ballots, how is that voter restriction? How is that restricting voters?
I've never understood that because you have to show an ID. We've done this 100 times. You have to show an ID for everything you do. Everything.
So it just irritates the heck out of me when you see that crap. And
Exactly. I'm sorry I can't find this, Jim. I was looking and I can't find the Wisconsin
I saw some of the stuff that I printed off.
Michael Gableman.
Yeah. Yep.
Wisconsin Special Counsel Michael Gableman calls for decertification of Wisconsin 2022 election results.
Yep.
What does that mean again? If it happens? I don't know. I don't know the legal aspect of it. I don't know what it means.
Look, Trump's not president, but if it does what I'm afraid it's going to do, then neither is Biden or Harris. So Pelosi's president for the next 2 years. That scares the living hell out of me.
But maybe if you wait till after November to get it all done.
Well, that's a good
point.
There's
a new speaker of the House.
Yeah, so let's hold off on that. But,
let's hold off on that.
But
but you got to start the process now.
He sits there, cut the cost of prescription drugs. That's one thing he wants to do.
Wait, who did that already?
I know.
Okay.
Lower costs, not wages. That was another comment he made that that's funny. Good luck with that.
And how is he going to do that?
Yeah, he said the tax cuts. Did you realize the tax cuts under President Trump only helped 1% of the population?
Oh, I wasn't aware of that. I got a tax cut. Did you?
Well, it's let's just not say the tax cuts that we got back. What happened? Yeah. Our businesses were doing better.
Yeah.
So when our businesses are doing better, our employers are happy. They're happy. What do they do when they're happy?
Yeah,
get more money.
They pay. They get more money.
So tax. The tax cuts, paying less taxes. Take that away. Look at everything else that happened. All the people that got jobs, the minimum wages that went up, the wages that actually went up, right?
Yep, that's right.
The economy was booming. The grocery store shelves were full.
Until the pandemic.
Yeah, the pandemic, which is what, And so those are some of the things that he said. And look, he's taken way too much credit for shit. And, but what really makes me mad is the Buy America First.
I know. Trump was saying that. That was Trump's motto, basically.
And somebody
America
needs to
first.
Explain to me. Oh, another thing. Ford and General Motors going to increase the productivity of electric cars. It's going to add 390-some thousand jobs. What about the jobs that are going to be lost from the combustible engine? You don't need as many people to work on electric cars as you do combustion cars.
He praised Ford and GM for their work on electric cars.
Your unemployment. And by the way, the actual unemployment rate is 7.3%. I looked that up.
Is it? Okay, I thought it was higher than that, but still, that's the actual unemployment.
The actual
rate,
unemployment
not what they're
rate.
saying. Yeah, but he praised General Motors and Ford for their electric cars, all the while saying how much they're doing and have done. Elon Musk sent a little tweet.
Oh, I didn't see that. I've seen.
I didn't write it down. But he tweeted basically, and I can't quote, but said to President Biden, to the White House, I've been doing this for years, and I've got the most electric cars on the road right now, just in case you wanted to know that. Elon Musk is now. Whatever you think about him, I mean, the guy's done some good stuff. So, Jim, do you want to move on to President Biden's court? Do we need to mention his nominee for Supreme Court? Do we need to talk about that?
Don't call her nominee. The next Supreme Court justice.
The next
please.
Supreme Court. She's not a nominee.
No,
not a nominee.
You're going to have some Republicans that are going to vote for her because of her stance and everything else, but she's getting in. There's no
she's
way
getting in. And I've got that in my notes. There's no way she's not going to be voted in. One thing, if you go against her, you're a racist and a bigot.
Yeah.
But and why is that? Because he nominated. I want to say her name right, Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Yep.
Who sits on the D.C. Circuit of Court of Appeals currently, nominated her. Her credentials are
the
there.
Credentials. Look,
credentials are there.
Kagan,
she has a she has a degree from Harvard and clerked for Justice Breyer,
right.
her replacement.
Right.
She's replacing. Her credentials are all there.
Mm-hmm.
None of that matters because that's not why she was picked.
Yes. Here's a picture of her.
She was picked because
that's why she was picked.
She's a black female. Exactly what Biden said he was going to do, so I'll give him credit. He did what he said he was going to do. Yeah. Picked her strictly for skin color and gender.
But wouldn't that be unfair to a black male candidate that had, or a Hispanic male or female that had just as much?
Or an Asian male or female? Or a black non-binary? Or a black, right?
Yep.
I'm saying he picked her strictly on a skin,
race,
color, and a gender.
Yep.
Does that sound to you people out there like that's legal?
Yeah. Why isn't Whoopi Goldberg jumping all over this? That's racist.
Yeah, I wonder why. It's racist, but why isn't Whoopi jumping on it?
Now, she's got the qualifications. There is no.
She's a lunatic left. Trust me.
Yeah,
I don't like her.
I understand that.
Okay.
She's got qualifications better than Kagan.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, she was just a professor. And but
true.
Have you noticed one of the big things that the article that I was looking at are the number of rulings that were thrown out?
I know.
That are overruled. There's a lot of them. When she was on the appellate court, there was just a lot of things that she did that was thrown out by higher courts. And in some cases, higher liberal courts. And
that's right.
So,
not just conservative judges.
Exactly.
Yep. Important to know. So you're right.
Anyway, that's going to be the biggest hiccup she has.
But it's not going to matter. She's getting nominated.
She's getting nominated.
Yeah, it's going to happen. She's going to be a new Supreme Court justice. And that does not make the court sway towards the left at all because you're just replacing a left judge. Right. Although Breyer was a pretty sensible guy, to be honest with you, for a liberal. Yeah. At times. He still had the left leaning. Mm-hmm. We know that. Mm-hmm. But so this definitely takes it the next step left for him. But none of that even matters. The point is race and gender. Jim, you own your own business, and you say black female, white males only can apply. How long do you think that's going to last?
Even if I said black females only can apply, I'm going to get in trouble.
By somebody.
Yeah.
But not Joe Biden.
Yeah, see, and the listeners out there, that's the one point we want to make on this, where, look, she's got the credentials. She's, we don't agree with the ruling. She is left. She's out there. But our biggest problem with this whole thing, because presidents can nominate who they want to. It's up to people to vote. It's up to the House and the Senate to vote them and confirm them, and the Senate, to confirm them and do all the stuff that you want to do. But the one thing that I add is that you just did. He said he was going to put a black woman on the Supreme Court.
No others need apply.
Yeah, so it's the whole Rooney Rule.
Sorry.
Right? I mean, why?
Yeah.
Exactly. I agree with you. I don't know why more people aren't up in arms.
But keep in mind that way back, let's get in the way back machine. Okay, back in 2003 through 2005, when Joe Biden was a Democrat senator from Delaware. I say Democrat senator. Everybody knows it's Democrat. Senator from Delaware. At the time, President George W. Bush nominated Janice Rogers Brown to the U.S. Court of Appeals. Janice Rogers Brown was a conservative black female. At that time, your president, Joe Biden, filibustered the nomination, said it would be a detriment to democracy if she became a judge. This wasn't even to the Supreme Court. This was for the D.C. Circuit Court. So he was against that black female. Why is that?
Oh, he was against black kids going to school with his black kids.
He was against black kids going. Look it up. Fact check us, you son of a bitches at YouTube and Facebook or anywhere else.
It's on video.
That is fact. 100% fact. It's on video. Look it up. Dare you to look that up. She was even thought that at one point she was going to replace Sandra Day O'Connor as a judge, which that went to Samuel Alito, which is a great judge. Absolutely godsend that guy is. But it's all about the up in arms about finally black representation on the Supreme Court. I mean, Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, I was going to say,
he's black, right? Is Clarence Thomas black?
Either that or he's been in a tanning bed a long time.
Or some sort of pigment
Who was
problem.
One of the
but I mean,
justices, Alito and him. I mean,
Alito and him. I mean, are absolutely one of the better justices. Gorsuch is Gorsuch.
Yeah, those were. Yep. It's just Justice Roberts is the one that.
That guy's got to go. But anyways, So just so you know, he filibustered a black female to be on the D.C. District Court, which was then. That's kind of how people get to become Supreme Court. They get on this D.C. District Court. It's one of the steps that really helps them in those nominations. They don't obviously all become that because there's a limited number of seats, unless you're the Democrats who want to, pad the Supreme Court. But just remember all the racist things. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Kind of Joe Biden guy. But then went ahead and did this, and everybody's okay with it. Black female, white male, Hispanic female, Asian male or female, F off. Yep. We don't want you.
Yeah.
But if you are gay and or a minority, you get a free crack pipe. So there you go.
Needle.
And needle. Jim, that's all I got because we didn't we kind of took this show in a different direction today. It may not be our most exciting show.
Yeah. I'm worried about that.
But I mean, I'm worried about that a little bit. But I mean, I think it was important to go into history. We might have drug on a little long on some of it, but it's important to do that. We wanted to get over the State of Union, which was literally 12 hours ago, basically.
From the State of the Union, take it from
not a lot to adjust it.
Yeah, take it from what you want to take it, but just think what he says. And just ask yourself, how is he going to do it?
How's he going to do it? What's the plan to do it? There's a lot of self-gratification with him.
Yep.
There's a lot of rah, look what I did. Here's the plan I got in place. But there's no way that plan comes to fruition. Right. There's no way to do it. So ask yourself, if you have an idea out there, listeners, and you know how he's going to do it, feel free to let us know. And we'd be more than happy to do it.
Who can tell us how to make the economy grow from the
middle and ground. Yep. Anybody can tell me how that's going to happen. Let me know. Small businesses, yes. Okay, I get all that, right?
Yeah.
Champion small businesses, that's middle ground, right? But they got to get their stuff from somewhere, right? Like small business, So it's got to happen. Again, Jim, this is on your way. I'm sorry, I just literally sent it out to you. But it's a 2 guys 1 coup cup.
Hopefully we'll have a website here pretty soon that you can order it from.
Working with our man, Chris. I don't mind giving him attention. Chris gave us some good ideas and good ways to approach it and offered his help. So we appreciate that very much so.
And I am sorry, Chris. Yes, I am very hard on Notre Dame. But the stats that you gave, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but I have to tell you.
Oh, my God. You just can't help yourself.
Stats you gave, were they within the last 20 years? I mean, it's like, yes, historically, they're a legit program. Absolutely. It's just these
relevant.
The fans can't.
It's different. historically and relevant are two different things, right?
I'm
not arguing with
I
you.
love you, Chris. I really do. But this is one thing that you and I will disagree on.
I don't think you do, Jim. It doesn't sound like you do. Jim, I wish for you not to wear a baseball cap, not a hat, just a baseball MLB provided cap until they end that thing. Okay? Can you just do that for me?
You can't tell me what to do.
Well, the fuck I just did, bro. All right.
Honestly.
Here we go. I asked you if you could not.
Fine, I'll wear my freaking Biden Harris hat then.
Oh, my God. All right. I'm done with you. Next week, we are going to have a top 5, and it's going to be top 5 people I would like to see replace Jim on this show. Which could be, anybody.
You just guest host every week.
We're that important. We just have guests every week. Jim, nope, we're going to do top 5 movies, right?
Movies,
any genre.
Yes.
Well, not any genre. We kind of
yeah.
But I mean, if you want to.
If Debbie Does Dallas is your top 5 movies of all time, then I am not going to judge you. I will not judge.
I cannot judge. I will not judge.
So
if that's true, but top 5 movies, we will have our AOCs and Big Shoomers of the week again. It'll be just a normal show where we talk about.
We're not going to do that today.
Not this stuff. What, the AOC?
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Jim, do you want to do an AOC? I kind of read mine, which was Kamala Harris and her approach and how she said.
Mine could either be.
So I did do kind mine, but it wasn't.
Mine could either be Joy Behar or John Kerry. Because both. Of the comments that they made. And real quick, John Kerry says that when he was interviewed about this, when Russia was going in and killing Ukrainian soldiers, people are dying. He says, I hope this doesn't affect our global climate initiative that we're out there.
I sure hope
those
not.
People having bullets fly by their ears are not thinking, man, this is going to hurt the environment.
Wish it was warmer.
These up.
Gee, yeah. Oh boy, this isn't. Yeah, this won't turn into soil. This piece of brass, metal, shrapnel that's flying through into my skin.
They just don't.
They're out of touch. And Joy Behar, of course, said, "Geez, this is a terrible thing that's going on over there. I hope it doesn't affect my trip to Italy." They're so out of touch. It's incredible to me, So I guess in a way we did do some AOCs and Schumers a week. I'll take mine as Joy Behar, who really, this war is really affecting her vacation.
Yeah, I'm sorry for it. We should, we should do a GoFundMe.
We should, don't mention GoFundMe. They're evil and I don't like them. And John Kerry, of course.
He could have been president.
Oh my God. Oh, he's like 4 heartbeats away from being president, isn't he? So, or something like that. So he's close anyways. But anyways, we're going to be up on YouTube again. The shows are on Rumble. We thank you all still for your continued support. Please like, comment, share, subscribe.
Yeah.
You can follow us on our Facebook page, 2guys12. We are going to get a website going, which will be a lot easier for people to jump on and see the videos, and they'll be able to comment.
If I stop
and do all that.
Notre Dame, maybe it'll go faster. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I know. But you just can't help yourself.
Fun. I have some.
I know you do.
People,
I know
you know what, though? They're passionate. There are no more passionate fans, and I'll give them credit for that. Notre Dame. It's just they may be a little foggy in the head a little bit. Living in the past.
I also want to say because my parents who were here visiting for 5 months have since gone back to Ohio as of yesterday, and so I just want to say hi to Mom and Dad because they're not here. They've been very supportive.
Some of our better listeners.
Yeah, they've been very, very supportive of the show and critical of it at times.
Yeah. And we like that.
We like that.
Let's face it, our wives are probably the most critical.
I'd say. Of all aspects of our life.
Jim, did you really have to say that? That was not appropriate. But that's the point.
That's the point. Yeah. I mean, I think we were got to be honest with you. I think we were more appropriate this show than we did in a long time.
You only said the F word once.
Did I? Did I say it?
Yeah, you did.
Well, I said it in a. Did I say it? Not in a quote?
No,
I said it more than that.
Well, no, you just said it once.
Did I? I believe we'll have to fact check that. I believe I said it more times. We will fact check it. But to be honest with you, who fucking cares, right? Anyways, thank you all again for your support. I had to throw that in there. Jim, yeah, you were just wonderful and brilliant as usual. Strikingly handsome if you're not watching us on YouTube. I mean, absolutely a man's
Got
man.
my city love. Cincinnati love.
Anyways, you wear some of the grossest, disgusting clothing I've ever seen on a human being. Although I think I did see that shirt on the homeless guy down by the beach the other day. So yeah, it's nice.
That
to
would
see
be
you guys
Super Bowl
dressed
champions.
That's I think
You
it
go
was
to India and stuff.
Kenya, Cincinnati. Right? Look at my shirt, Cincinnati, Super Bowl champions. You know. Terrible Indian accent. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to.
Well, what was funny is that the joke going around when people in China and India must think the Buffalo Bills are really good.
They got all these Super Bowl winning shirts 4 years in a row, I think. That's funny. That's funny. And not racist. That wasn't racist.
Not racist at all.
That's not racist at all. They get those. They when they give them. I think it's a good thing. Give them away. It's just,
and let's hope by next week we have some resolution to the baseball strike, but I doubt it. So.
We better, because that's just.
I'll wear my Bengals hat next week. Okay.
Please don't wear any Cincinnati shit for once. Do you own any other clothes?
Yeah.
Do you need some money? Do you need some money, buddy? Need some help.
Yeah, it's on GoFundMe. So
we can go buy you a pair of Tough Skins or some Huffies or something.
I have other clothes,
Huskies or whatever they're called.
Clothes, you won't complain about it. Well, you did complain about my blue bodysuit that I had on.
I did, but last week I believe I even mentioned that your black shirt was very slimming on you. Mm-hmm. You know, it was very slimming on you. Of course, I mentioned it in reference to your gang clothes.
Yeah, the 513.
Jim, let's be honest. Whatever you wear, it's not going to. You look great. I'm just going to make fun of it on purpose.
I think everybody knows that.
Again, 2 guys, 1 coup. Find us on YouTube, Rumble, our Facebook page. We hope to have a website soon. And you'll be able to buy some of this beautiful merch. Yeah. Who doesn't want that?
Who doesn't?
I mean, I know you want it. You're still waiting.
And we're going to start cups at $25.
I think that's probably not true.
Either that or help us find sponsors for the.
That's probably not true. They will not be $25. You know, could be $20. But again, small price to pay. A couple lasts you a lifetime, dude. You know, I mean, $25.
You should autograph
merely 50 cents or a cup of coffee a day. You can sponsor 2 guys, 1
You will help us with our dream.
That's right. That's right. Oh, Jim, I am about done looking at you today. Again, thank you for your information and thank you for your work on this. I know, guys, you got to keep in mind that, you know, we have real jobs.
Mm-hmm. This is done at night.
It's not a real job.
This is done at night a lot.
This is done at night. And so we have to, you know, we're doing research when we can, if we can. So we try to get it right. We try to give you the right information. We try to give you information from our perspective too. And hopefully you're getting that out of this show. If you're not, comment on that too. We don't care. Let us know. We appreciate it, Jim. I am done. Sir, carry on. We'll see you all next week when our top 5 is top 5 movies. So keep that in mind. We'll let you know on Facebook. And we'll see you all next week. All right?
Bye.
All right, Jimmy. We'll talk to you.
Bye.
Thanks, buddy. Bye.